Hi, everybody, and welcome to my production meeting of Smallmouth Sounds. This is a site-specific project, so we're going to be going back to camp. I don't know if anyone here went to camp as a kid, but I did, and you know, let's think about what that looks like as adults. Okay, so the first thing to talk about is what is the show about? This show is about control. In the show, all the characters' lives are falling apart. They attend this retreat to find a way to control what's going on around them. You have every single character, even the teacher, is going through these moments in their lives where they have lost control, whether it's by alcoholism, whether it's by sickness, whether it's by your ex, like all these people are losing complete control. And in order to try to grasp some sense of control over their scenario, they go to some retreat to try to get away from it, but also try to get some clarity on how to control what's going on around them. And I think the overall thing is that they learn that they really can't. No one has control, and that's what everyone here is struggling about. For me, my protagonist is Judy. For a few reasons. Judy is the character that, even in their bio, is the one that craves control the most, and so I think it's that much more important that she doesn't have it. Judy is also has a lot more of the breakthroughs, in my opinion, reading it. Judy just got diagnosed with cancer, is trying to figure out stuff. Judy is also a boss bitch, and she's getting her life together, and this diagnosis happens, and her partner are dealing with it and trying to do the best they can, but Judy just wants to hold on to control, and she can't. So yeah, I have a quote from the show. Perhaps now is the time to say a few words about pain. You have come here because you hope I can help with that. No? When we feel pain, we take our painkillers. I will kill my pain. My pain will be dead. I will live in pain free. So it's all this about, what can I do to make myself feel better? What can I do to control the situation? And there is no control. So Judy's journey. Intrusion. Judy reads that Joan's intention. So this is the overarching what Judy goes through, in my opinion. Our first intrusion is when Judy reads Joan's interaction or intention. They have to write these intentions in the play. Intentions were what they want to solve in the week, whether it be a problem, whether it be a goal for themselves. It's why they're here and what they're fixing along the way. So Joan writes one, and it falls off when they're at the lake, and Judy picks up and reads it, and all it says is that we see a shift in her reaction, and then she sits there and watches Joan swim in the lake. So the turning point is, we see that Judy has read this note. Judy is changed. Her and Joan are different now. How they react, how Judy is reacting to Joan is different. And then at this meeting, Judy just hands Joan's intention back to her and doesn't say anything. And then we see next, that night, Judy's packing a bag, and we don't know why. And then Joan walks in, and Judy just hands it to her. She's like, "Get out." Judy is kicking Joan out of the apartment. And then in that conversation, we learned that Joan's intention was something about being free of Judy. And Judy's obviously very hurt by that and is like, "Get out of my face." And then the final climax is when Judy, so Judy makes a friend during this thing. And he is Jan, and he is a minister from a Finnish country. And he is missing his family, doesn't speak any English, but they've made this connection, and they give each other looks, and they're laughing and they're joking this whole time. And so at the very end, Judy walks up and is like, "Here's my contact information if you ever want to talk after this." And this guy goes, "No English." And for some reason, this just breaks Judy. And I think it's because Judy's just found another thing that she can't control. She can't control language barrier. She can't control this guy that she just spent a whole time thinking, maybe we can be friends, because they're not allowed to talk at the retreat. They have to just rely on facial expressions and stuff because they're supposed to be finding their inner self. And she's like, "I don't know how to communicate with you." And she breaks because that's something else that she can't control in the situation. Okay, so why now? Right now, everyone's in a very uncontrollable situation, and I would be very dumb to not talk about the coronavirus because it's literally everything like everyone right now is experiencing. We are in a very big time of I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen in a month. I don't know what's going to happen with anything right now. And everyone's in the same boat. And I think this is one of the times where it's like there is a universal truth here. Like everyone is dealing with this scary, weird, answerless thing. And we're all like, hey, where'd the control go? I can't go outside. I can't hug my friends. I can't talk to my friends. And it's a lot. And I think anything about control right now, yeah, that should probably be talked about. I think a lot of things could be talked about right now. Um, but also aside from the coronavirus, why the show should have been told and why the show should be told after this is because life sucks, but life keeps moving. I think a lot of times when we're trying to grasp control over our lives, we're trying to slow things down. When really bad things happen or when really like frustrating things happen in our lives, we're trying to grasp the reins back, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes there are things that are just out of your control and you can't grasp it. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that, and it's okay to acknowledge that everyone is going through that. And that's one of those messages where it's like it'll mean different things, I think, at different points of lives, but it's gonna be something that everyone deals with. It is something that everyone deals with. Um, the fact that you cannot control life, you just have to adapt to it. Um, so yeah, that's why now. Okay, so before we get into like our site, these are the things that I identified, like this is what I want the site to have. So an old campsite, I really like the idea that it starts at sunset. So we started at like this like really pretty moment with nature and like this like really hopeful thing as all the campers, and then we kind of are like we get into night. And I think night will also help change with like the lighting. We can make the people feel like they're living the days with us. Um, so that's kind of what I'm gonna explore with this campsite. It needs to have access to the woods, a lake to use for the scene, for the swimming scene, a modern and well lit mess hall space, because I feel like they would have something more modern for like this like retreat, and then a big cabin that we can use, or smaller cabins that are within walking distance to each other for the cabin scenes at night. So yeah, so this is Horton Haven Camp. That's the address of it if you guys want to look it up. So it's actually a Christian camp, but I've been there. So I'm like, okay, cool, I can talk about this. I know what this looks like. And it actually does meet the requirements that I set forth. So, this site has 10 cabins and they're very like walking distance from each other. So you can trek through a little bit of woods and get to another cabin, but it's also like right next, like 20 feet away, 30 feet away, for the next cabin. So, my idea with the cabins is that in the nights we have these cabin scenes of, like what they're doing in their bedrooms at night, and like it's very silent. No one can talk. So I'm thinking it would be really cool if we did the show at night, and then we walked into cabins and you just see what they do before they go to bed at night. And then like that takes you into like the nighttime. And then in the morning we wake up and we go back to the mess hall. And then with all the like iridescent lights on, we can like kind of the idea is that we're gonna try to trick the audience into seeing night and day, because we're gonna be walking through outside at night and then walking back to the mess hall. So we'll have like the nighttime cabin where we see outside, and then we'll have an inside mess hall where we'll cover up the windows and turn on the iridescent lights and act like it's inside. And maybe we put like an LED or something behind a window to make it look like there's natural light in, so we can like trick the audience into like living the days of the camp with us. Okay, so another thing that we needed is a big open modern living space. This place actually has two of them, so it would be up to like Scenic and our other friends as to what we can make work best. I really want to use and I'll get into this with the like specific things, but I want to use as much like what is there as possible. I don't want to make it look like a theater. I want to play with the fact that we can't control it, and play with the fact that we're just living life. And yeah, like that is my big thing. I want this play to feel like we are just living the life, because I want it to feel as authentic as possible, and I don't want it to feel like it's like staged life. And I like the aspect that we can't control it, which is going to present logistical issues, but I think doing it at like a campsite where we have like a designated track would really help. Um, This also has a lake on site. So it has a lake and it has a pool. So whatever one would be easier to light, whatever one would be easier to do this with, that's what I would want to do for the lake scene. Okay, so these are the design areas. So I want to use as little as possible to alter and control this. Something else I'm thinking about for like staging wise is I want them to walk around the campus, but I would love to see if we can do it, like have like a talk at the beginning and be like have like an actor hold like a torch, or have an actor hold something and then the audience just silently follows the actor around. So I want this play to be done in as much silence as possible. I want this to be uncomfortably quiet from a sound thing. So like whether or not like the actor has like a neon wristband that the audience is following. If it's a night, it will need to be like they're holding a flashlight. Maybe we could gel a flashlight with like red and like you follow the red flashlight. But I want this to be done with as little like mouth to mouth like talking communication as possible. Because I think living in the silence and living in the uncomfortable, like we can't control the silence, is something I really want to push everyone to be in. Granted, we are in theater. This is live. Things happen, but that's the goal. Okay, so scenic. I want this campsite to be immersed enough in the woods to feel like a retreat. This location does provide that. It is an actual retreat. But to be old enough to look somewhat run down, and that is how the character scene was struggling with their lives. So the idea behind the set for me, or the world that we're living in for me, is that it's mirroring the uncertainty in the lives. So I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to like bulk up or pretty up the site. I want to work with what's there. And if we need to make it look a little bit more run down, or we need to make it look a little bit more scatterbrained, I'd rather go that direction than polishing it. Because it's all about uncertainty and lack of control. And when my life's not in control, everything's a mess. So I kind of think that like visual metaphor and that bit of visual representation can kind of help us get back more into that mindset. Lighting. So if we go at night, I want to use as much natural lighting as possible, or as much as what's already there. I don't want to add too many of everything. I'm very much like, I want this to look like a campsite, and I don't want to alter it too much. I want it to feel like life. Like these people are actually going for a retreat, and I want it to be an experience as well. So yeah, I think starting at sunset would give us a beautiful backdrop. And then if we need to use lights to alter other places, we can. I'm not completely like, it will be done at night, because that concerns a whole lot of other logistical issues. I just think if we can do something like that to make it feel like we are going through night and day with the people, whatever we're using, I would prefer to use Mother Nature with that, because I want this to feel like a retreat, not a stage. Yeah. Costuming. So I had this idea of like how much we really try to control and how much it doesn't work. So I really think it would be very interesting if every character had one new thing that the actor is trying desperately like outside to not get messy, whether it be like an actor has white shoes, or an actor has like pretty like something that will get messy, or that will like start to wear, that the actor is trying to control the like overall of. I think having them each have that one thing to where it's like, I'm trying to control this, is a good metaphor to be like, this is what we do with our lives. And then sound, I've already talked about it. I want this to be as close to nature as possible, uncomfortably quiet. If we can come up with signs and stuff to make the audience follow us, I think that would be awesome, as well as if we have a talk beforehand. This also addresses safety concerns, I know, but I'd like to open up that conversation as well. I think the most important thing for me is that this feels like real life. And going in this, I want this to feel like we are taking these people on a retreat, and we're being like, hey, just like nature, life is unpredictable, and we can't control it. So yeah, that is my pitch for you guys for the show, and I hope we can control this as much as possible to show that there is no control, because we love dichotomies. Yeah, have a great day, everyone, and let's talk about the show. I'm really excited to create with all of you. Yeah, this is cool. So yeah.